Life Audio.
On today's episode of Timeless Wisdom.
Why is it that women tend to be more liberal in their politics than men?
You were talking in the last segment. One of the comments that you made me really think about something, and that was that generally women tend to look at things from the viewpoint of more individual. And
how does it affect me? How does it affect me and my family? Go ahead.
Well, right, and growing up, in a family that has both of those points of view, you're going to tend to absorb. I think you're going to tend to absorb the point of view of the people that raise you.
That's coming up on Timeless Wisdom with Dennis Prager.
Hey, y'all, I'm Willie Robertson.
And I'm Corey Robertson.
We partnered with Echo. It's a new platform, not just streaming.
Movies and series that are safe for your family.
Echo!
I love a podcast.
Plus, Echo Daily Devotionals.
Echo. Hey, Willie, what is Echo?
Echo is my pet squirrel.
Okay, yeah. Echo is not just faith-friendly, it is faith-driven.
Be a part of something better.
Echo.
Echo.
That's where I want to be.
That's EKKL.com.
Subscribe now.
Welcome to Timeless Wisdom with Dennis Prager. Hear thousands of hours of Dennis's lectures, courses, and classic radio programs. And to purchase Dennis Prager's Rational Bibles, go to DennisPrager.com.
I'm old-fashioned. I like two sexes. Yeah, and another thing, all of a sudden I don't like being married to what is known as a new woman. I want a wife, not a competitor. Competitor.
Talk about a bit, this crying in the morning thing, this depression, let's get that fixed.
That's what men think, isn't it?
What?
Unless you've got the answer, unless you can say, oh, I know this bloke in the Essex Road who could fix that, then there's no point bothering.
How do you rate women so well?
I think of a man, and I take away reason and accountability.
I love him, and I don't care what you think. I love him for the man he wants to be, and I love him for the man that he almost is.
What do people have rows about?
Money, sex, money. He wants, she doesn't want.
She wants, he doesn't want?
Women have always been a big problem to me, Dr. Fussband. Are you listening, Doctor?
Yes. Go on.
Hi, everybody. This is Dennis Prager. Welcome to the Male-Female Hour. Although it is right before the national election, we are having the Male-Female Hour, but I am tying it into the time in which we live. And then we will shortly, that is within 2 weeks, go back to pure Male-Female Hour. But I'm not postponing it. It's still the Male-Female Hour. And the issue today, which does obviously strongly impinge on our nation's future and on, for that matter, on humanity's future, but certainly our nation's and on elections, why is it that women tend to be more liberal in their politics than men? That's the question. Why, or if you wish to pose it the other way, why are men less liberal in their politics than women are? And the issue here is not right or wrong. That I do on all the other hours. This one, you all know where I stand. I would say 99% of you do, but that's not the point here. The point is to be as clarifying as possible. Again, keeping with my motto, I prefer clarity to agreement. Let's try to figure out why it is that women tend to be more liberal in their politics. And I would like to offer some thoughts on this and then get your reactions. Simple as that. Well, not necessarily in order of importance, but absolutely tied for first with whatever else it is tied with, is the fact that women think, when they think as women, in other words, when their natural tendency is to think in terms of the micro more than the macro, the personal, the individual, rather than the broad social questions. That is more masculine thinking. More feminine thinking is the individual. And there's a great example that will give you a perfect understanding of this difference without taking any position on which is better or worse. And the example is the study that I read about having men and women witness the same car crash. The women who witnessed the car crash were far more likely to focus on the suffering of those hurt in the crash when they gave their reports to reporters and police. The men were far more likely to report who hit whom and how the crash took place. Now, here is a perfect example of where you need both feminine and masculine attitudes. It's one of my biggest beliefs in life is that we need the feminine and the masculine. It's one of the reasons that I most believe that it is ideally that it's best for a child to have start out life with a mother and a father. To have this yin and yang, as they put it in Asia, in one's life. Now, the woman's concentration on the suffering of the individuals in the car crash is critical for society's survival because somebody has to take care of these people and be preoccupied with the suffering of the individual. I mean, women are far more likely to hear the cries of the baby at night. Not even cries, when they turn over in their bed or their crib. And women marvel at us guys being able to sleep through whatever the kid is going through. I mean, I can only imagine how many kids might die, for that matter, if it was only the male ear that we could rely on. So there is clearly a balance here that if you believe is just the way evolution wanted it, if you believe as I do the way God made the world, that doesn't matter to me. But that's the way it is. The masculine and the feminine natural mode of thinking they are just different. With the male is more macro, and the female is more micro, the individual. That has a very big impact. Remember, the subject of today's male-female hour is why are women more likely to be liberal voters than men are? Because the liberal politics, liberal social policy is very much geared toward the individual. What will help that individual? Men are more likely to ask, or masculine thinking is more likely to ask, what is better for society? Whereas the woman going to vote is more likely to ask, what benefits me and my loved ones? That's the way. Now, whether they come to the right conclusions or not is a separate issue. But that is the way in which they think. Number two. So first is micro, macro. Number two is compassion versus standards. An idea that I have brought to your attention over the course of so much time. Feminine thinking, and it doesn't mean men don't have feminine thinking. A lot of men have exactly this thinking, and a lot of women have masculine thinking on political subjects. But this is the natural way in which they will think. Women, again, would be more compassion-oriented in social policy. Men, more standards-oriented. Any number of examples. I'll give you two that I know you're familiar with if you've listened to me over the course of time at all. Same-sex marriage is a great example where feminine thinking is, how does this impinge upon the life of a gay person? Does it hurt them? Is it fair to them? Et cetera, et cetera. The masculine thinking is, wait a minute, there is a standard for defining marriage, and that is man-woman. And that is the thing that society has to ask. How do we maintain the standard rather than how does it affect every single given individual who happens to be gay and wants to get married? And so they are both coming from a good place, and they are both coming to opposite conclusions. Another compassion versus standards example, and they are all over the place, would be with regard to the mess we have had with regard to the housing market. Feminine thinking is compassion and therefore liberal, and that is, let's lower the standards for giving loans to poor people so that they can also have a house. We can't be so strict in our standards that we deny these people loans. So let's change and lower the standards so we can do that. The masculine is, and the non-liberal is, hey, wait a minute. If we lower the standards for giving out loans, a lot more people are going to default on their homes, and we will be in terrible shape. And so, once again, you have a liberal, conservative, feminine, masculine difference. 1-8-PRAGER-776, 1-8-PRAGER-776. Why women tend to be more liberal in their voting. Interestingly, of course, as you know, as women become married and have children, they do become less liberal. The least liberal women, in their politics I'm talking, not in their personal lives, are those who are married with children. Now, that's in and of itself a story to be talked about, and we will talk about it. But in the meantime, I have been focusing, and then I will take your calls when we come back, on two big ones. Macro versus micro, men macro, masculine macro, feminine micro, and the other one, feminine, compassion, and masculine standards. 1-8-PRAGER-776 is 877-243-7776. This is the male-female hour on the Dennis Prager Show. Given the political season we're in, this is the topic that I have chosen. We have very intimate topics often on the male-female hour. We continue when I return.
This episode of Timeless Wisdom will continue right after this.
For nearly 3,000 years, Homer's The Odyssey has shaped Western imagination. It tells the story of Odysseus as he faces monsters, shipwrecks, false comforts, and impossible choices on his long journey home. As one of the foundational works of Western literature, Homer's epic is more than a mythology. It explores permanent questions about courage, duty, loyalty, family, leadership, temptation, and the search for home. In one of the epic's defining moments, Odysseus rejects the offer of immortality from the goddess Calypso, choosing instead the long and difficult journey home. His decision reveals one of the central themes of the Odyssey, that a life of duty, family, and home is greater than a life devoted to comfort or glory. Achilles chose glory, Odysseus chose home. That's why Hillsdale College has released its newest free online course, The Odyssey. Taught by Professor Benedict Whalen, the course reveals why Homer's masterpiece remains one of the greatest works of Western literature. Find this free course at charlieforhillsdale.com. That's charlieforhillsdale.com. Read the classics, study the West. The Odyssey from Hillsdale College. Go to charlieforhillsdale.com.
Now, back to more of Dennis Prager's Timeless Wisdom.
All righty, everybody. Dennis Prager here. Male-female hour. Talking to you in this electoral season, just a week before the elections, in fact, about the question of male-female differences politically. Why are women more liberal than men in their voting habits and in their outlook? And I've given two reasons why masculine and feminine thinking are different. Masculine macro, feminine micro. Masculine standards, feminine compassion. These are generalizations. And for those of you who went to college and were taught not to think clearly and therefore to reject all generalizations, please understand that generalizations are the only way to understand the world. They may be wrong. Any given generalization just may be wrong, but the idea of generalizations is a very important one, and I believe that these generalizations are true. Secondly, all generalizations are just that. There are surely women who have a more masculine thinking in these matters and men with feminine thinking. Otherwise, there would be no male liberals and no female conservatives, obviously. But these are very big factors. They are not the only ones, as we will see from our callers. 1-8-PRAGER-776. And let's see here. There's an interesting question from here in Ohio, where I am today. And that is Adrian in Mentor, Ohio. Hi, Adrian. How you enjoying the weather?
Hi, Dennis. I'm doing all right. A little bit chilly today.
Well, a little bit chilly. I mean, it was hailing when I walked into the studio.
Well, it's warmer than 17
anyway,
degrees.
I'm from I'm sorry?
It's warmer than 17 degrees, so.
You're right. You see, it's everything. This is truly an example of everything is relative. When you come from Southern California, this is like the Arctic. But for you, it's a balmy day. All right, go ahead.
Okay. When you were talking in the last segment, one of the comments that you made me really think about something, and that was that generally women tend to look at things from the viewpoint of more individual, and
how does it affect me? How does it affect me and my family? Go ahead.
Well, right, and growing up, in a family that has both of those points of view, you're going to tend to absorb. I think you're going to tend to absorb the point of view of the people that raise you. So, in light of that, and thinking about things in a larger context, as I do because I'm a man, how does that affect those men or those boys that grow up with no father in their life?
It's
there are a lot of people in that situation.
That's right. It's a very good question. And I would not be surprised if the greater number of liberal men is related to the greater number of males being raised without a dad.
And then that feeds back also into, there are particular populations that tend to vote in a particular direction, and that's been true for some time. I would be interested in understanding how big a part that plays in their political views.
Yep, your point is extremely well taken. It's not one that I had immediately thought of, and I agree with you. It's certainly intuitive. Of course, if you're raised by a mother only, and there's no strong masculine influence in your life, then where will you get your conservative or non-liberal values from? That's right. And by the way, this is, again, I'm trying to be as non-judging as possible this hour. This is truly just clarifying. Where my own inclinations are, but I don't think that that's necessarily a factor in your receiving what I'm saying as pretty valid. All righty, let's go to more of your theories on this. Aaron in Eden Prairie, Minnesota. Hi, Dennis Prager.
Hi, Dennis. Thanks for taking my call.
Thank you.
My husband and I were at Orchestra Hall last night, and it was a great event.
Oh, wasn't it?
Exciting to be there, and
I wish a lot of reporters who make up this nonsense about hate at McCain Palin rallies would have seen how the 3,000 people were behaving.
Well, and everybody's saying God bless America, and I mean it was very patriotic. So I mean, for anybody to say anything like that is kind of silly, really.
Yeah.
But I was calling because I think that a big part of what it comes down to is women are more emotional and are nurturers by nature. And so women have this, kind of innate feeling that they need to take care of everyone. And so instead of looking to solve the actual problem that's making people unhappy or deal with financial issues or whatnot, they think of it as kind of that short-term fix, like something's wrong, so let's go shopping and make ourselves happy. I think women tend to do that in a lot of aspects in life, and so when they see all these issues in society, that they think that they can go out and cure the world, kind of, instead of finding what the problem is and fixing that.
Well, let me go in a slightly different direction, because I agree with your first premise totally, and that is the more nurturing female, and what she does is she translates her family life or her nurturing life into government life. Exactly. So that just as I nurture, I want the state to nurture.
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. Wonderfully said. That's a great point. I take care of those I love. Why doesn't the state take care of those it loves? That's really good. And that's exactly right. It's like a law, and that's why this family rhetoric that is very common on the liberal side. Well, we're all one big family, and really does take over that rhetoric. We will take care of you just as you take care of those you love. Yep, that's a good one. Tampa, Florida, Marianne. Hello, Marianne. Dennis Prager.
Hello. I'm a mother of 5 children, and I was raised in South Louisiana, which was always basically Democrat. My husband also. But when I registered at 18 as a Republican. And all of our children are Republicans, but now I'm an accountant and my husband is an artist. But I was raised in a military family.
That's right. Well, you're explaining your own situation. I don't have to say a word. I think you know.
All 5 of our children are Republicans.
Now, how does so your husband votes liberal?
He did, and even though but in this election, he voted for McCain.
Okay, do you know why?
Because he became a committed Christian and he felt it was the right thing to do.
Oh, very interesting. Very interesting. Well, but of course, your upbringing explains you a great deal. That's right. Look, there are obviously a lot of women who are not liberal in their views. But in general, they are, and why they naturally gravitate there is the subject of this male-female hour on the Dennis Prager Show.
This episode of Timeless Wisdom will continue right after this.
Precious metals dealers come and go. This is Nick Grovich, president of AmFed Coin and Bullion. We've stood the test of time since 1983. With the flurry of coin and bullion dealers coming and going, how do you know who to trust and what to buy? At AmFed Coin and Bullion, we value educated consumers. We want to alert you to good bullion buys in the market and help you steer clear of the tricks and bad deals. Call AmFed Coin and Bullion for a free coin performance review. 800-221-7694 or AmericanFederal.com.
Now, back to more of Dennis Prager's Timeless Wisdom.
Yes, Prager it is. Hi, everybody. Dennis Prager in Ohio. Male-female hour. And I'm tying it in with elections, but it is very, very helpful. Even if this were not the election season, it would be a very important issue to raise. And by the way, for those of you new to the show or have not heard the male-female hour before, I mean, we talk very, very openly on this hour about marital issues, about man-women issues, about the differences between them sexually and in every other way. I mean, it's an adult hour, folks. On many occasions. But today it is about this subject, why women and men differ politically and in every poll. I mean, we just know that they do. Now, there is a difference. When women get married, and especially married women with children, then they tend to vote more like men do, less liberal. And there are any number of reasons. One of the most obvious, though, is that a single woman is more likely to want to be protected. Women want to be protected. It is about as primal an urge as the desire of men for sex. Women want security more than they want sex, in the most primal sense of their being. I mean, that's easily provable because it continues well beyond the time that women may be even sexually active. There is still the deep desire to be protected, to be secure. Now, I'm not making judgments here. There's no better or worse. I mean, there's a better or worse for politics, I believe, but the instincts are not bad or good. They are what they are. Male sexuality is not bad or good. It's what men do with it. Women's desire to be protected is not bad or good. It's what they do with it. If they want to be protected by the state, I'm not thrilled. If they want to be protected by a good husband, then I am thrilled. I mean, that's so. It's all complex, but but nevertheless clarifiable, which is what I aim to do every day on the show, is to make things as clear as possible. And here you have a real difference, and that's why when a woman feels that she is secure in a marriage, then her natural thinking will not gravitate more toward the liberal side of a government that takes care of me, because I have a family and I have a husband who does, and I can rely on him. I don't have to rely on the state. And that's why single women are by far the most dramatically different group in terms of voting. Single women are the largest liberal vote. I'm not talking about ethnic or racial groups. I'm talking about everything else. That is the most liberal group of all. Now, there's got to be a reason. And single men are not nearly as it's not singlehood, because single men don't vote liberal nearly in the numbers that single women do. And so that's almost your proof of at least the theories that I am giving here, plus others that we heard. The nurturing one is excellent. Women do nurture. By the way, the fact that women are more nurturing can be seen in another way. They're far more active in the animal rights movement. It's almost a women's movement, in fact. They want to nurture animals, and women who don't have children and a husband to nurture will nurture an animal. Women want to nurture. And if it's not going to be a human, then by golly, it'll be an animal. And if it's not going to be an animal, it'll be an inanimate object. There are too many stories now that I have heard, including from liberals, who have given their daughters trains or trucks, in other words, boys' toys, and the little girls take care of them. They nurture the trucks. They give the trucks names. If that is not the best example you could hear of the instinctive nature of the female to nurture, then I don't know what is. I mean, boys crash trucks and girls give them names and take care of them. All right? I mean, that's pretty dramatic, folks. That's why we have a male-female hour, to help explain these differences between the two sexes. 1-8-PRAGER-776. More differences helping to explain the voting habits of men and women on the male-female hour on the Dennis Prager Show. Hi, everybody. You're listening to the Dennis Prager Show, and the point here is to explain to you on the male-female hour why women and men tend to vote differently, and women more liberal, men more conservative, and the reasons are compelling. And I think the most dramatic example is how different single men and single women vote. They get more similar when women get married. All right, let's go to some more of your calls, and then I will give you a summary of what we have thus far spoken about. In Walla Walla, Washington, it's Shelley. Hi, Shelley of Walla Walla. Dennis Prager.
Hi.
Hi.
I agree that the women tend to obviously have the natural, thing in them to want to nurture. But I know as a mom of 3, no one can raise my kids and nurture my kids better than I can. And for us to, I feel like our society has gotten to a point where we just, we believe that, I don't know, we've bought into this whole thing that the government can do just as good, if not better, of a job than we can to raise our kids, which I think it's a lie we've bought into. I don't think, daycares and preschools can do as good of a job as a mom, but, it's something that, I think that we bought into as a society.
Well, I couldn't agree with you more. Of course, you are a classic, though. I assume you're religious?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, you're religious, you're married, you have children. You don't live in a major urban center. I mean,
right.
you are.
But I have.
You are a living demographic.
Yeah. I just think that, And, I actually homeschool my children, too, which is, but even if I chose to put my children in public school, which, actually, my older daughter goes to public school, I've always told people, it's not the school that raises my kids. I raise my kids.
But increasingly we want the state to educate and raise our children, and now with preschool education, the idea is to make this universal and paid for by government. The state will raise your children from the age of 4.
Right.
3? Is it now 3? Yeah, soon we'll have neonatal education. Yeah, I thank you, Shelley. This is fascinating. I always find this, look, I don't want to get into politics, so I'll be very brief on this. This is the male-female hour, so I tend not to go politically, but the generation that itself did not have preschool or whatever it's called education wants the next generation to have it. Do we think we're stupider for not having it? I mean, I didn't go to school till I was 5. It's astonishing that I love to read, and I love to think, and I love to engage in intellectual discourse, and I think I have a pretty good mind. How did that happen? Oh, and even more compelling evidence against my having a possible intellectually oriented mind is the fact that I was bottle fed. Oh God, there were too many. What is this? I always have this vision of being. What is that vision of the cave where the snakes keep coming out? You keep killing the snakes, and for every snake you kill, another one comes out. Did you ever have that? It's not a platonic vision. I don't know whose vision it is, but I just there were too many things coming out of too many holes in the cave. You can't battle them all. It seems. I mean, so much nonsense that goes out there. What kids need. All right, let's go to some more about these differences between the two sexes. Let's go to Atlanta, Georgia, and Milt. Hello, Milt. Dennis Prager.
How you doing, Dennis?
Great, thanks.
Listen, I tell people that you're my radio Rebbe, and I'm constantly trying to push you onto other people. So when your ratings tick up, it's due to me.
Milt, I tell you this: when I come to Atlanta and we're working on a visit there, I want to meet you.
I would love to. I would love to.
Thank you.
You're my idol. Well, listen, I will tell you this. One thing that I've noticed, I'm a black conservative here in Georgia, and I was raised Democrat. And one thing I've noticed is that the black electorate tends to vote in a way that aligns with female thinking. That whole nurturing on an individual basis, emoting versus thinking.
And what percentage of blacks were raised by moms without dads?
Well, arguably, there's a greater percentage of them.
That's right. And who knows if that isn't related? A caller earlier exactly made this point.
Absolutely. And an oddity about that is I have an aunt who raised her kids. She was unmarried, and she had mostly males, one daughter. But oddly enough, they're more conservative than liberal.
It is odd. You're right.
And before I get off the call...
Wait, before you leave, let me ask you a question. When you say black conservative, does that translate into your vote next Tuesday as well?
Oh, absolutely. And I would like to share with you just quickly why I became a conservative versus a Democrat.
Yes.
It dawned on me when I was going through a primary once. I think it was the first Bush campaign. And as I walked into the polls and I was approaching the table to get my ballot, they were automatically shoving me the blue ballot, the Democratic ballot, before I even walked up to them. And I said, I came up and told my wife, I said, I was just as insulted as if they'd asked me if I wanted watermelon and chicken with that ballot. And it became very clear to me then that most people think the black electorate does not think and cogitate.
Milt, I'm not kidding. If I don't meet you on my next trip to Atlanta, I will not have considered it a success.
I would love to.
All right? You send me an email. I love that. Black conservative tells me I'm his radio Rebbe. Only in America. I always praise America when I hear such things. We'll be back in a moment. Final segment of the male-female hour coming up.
This episode of Timeless Wisdom will continue right after this.
Rising interest rates, stock volatility, out-of-control inflation. People are concerned about what the future holds financially. This is Dennis Prager for AmFed Coin and Bullion. There's no better time than the present to move a portion of your IRA into precious metals. You should know there's a right and a wrong way to set up your precious metals IRA. Mistakes could cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars in IRS fines. Call AmFed Coin and Bullion, 800-221-7694. AmericanFederal.com. That's AmericanFederal.com.
Now, back to more of Dennis Prager's Timeless Wisdom.
Say goodbye, goodbye, say hello.
I could memorize that. Yeah, I'm not good at memorizing lyrics. Hence, I don't know if you picked up Alan's snide comment to me that even I could memorize the limits. You say goodbye and I say hello? I still forget it by next week. I would. I just know it. Now, if you gave me 7 arguments why, whatever it is, why Senator so-and-so should be reelected in New Mexico or whatever, I would know them next week. But one bloody line of lyric, I don't think I would. From WHK in Cleveland, this is Dennis Prager, male-female hour, which I so enjoy, talking about how men and women relate to one another. And I'll tell you this, folks, I have deep convictions about whom I want to win the elections for reasons that I've been articulating and writing for years. But one thing I can tell you, and Democrat or Republican, I think a lot of us are looking forward to actually being able to talk about other subjects. And I have tried to a certain extent, but obviously the dominance of politics is inevitable in an election year. Just it shouldn't be a year. It should be an election half year. All right, in any event, we're talking about why women more liberal than men in their voting. And let me review what we've had here and then summarize some of your calls, so please do not hang up. First, men think in macro terms. Women think in micro terms. What's better for me and my family? And men will more likely ask, what's better for society? And it sounds like I'm saying men are better. I'm not saying men are better. I prefer the masculine vision on voting, but thank God for women's preoccupation with their families. Masculine standards, feminine compassion. There's an immediate sense there of where men and women are likely, or masculine and feminine thinking are likely to veer. Then females are more nurturing. They want, and that just as they nurture, they want the state to nurture. Females are more security oriented. Men more liberty oriented. Now let's see, Lisa in Iowa. Women think more in the micro, but I do not. It's lonely being a woman and having that attitude. Man, would I like to talk to you, Lisa. Call me third hour on Friday, will you? I'm very, very desirous of talking to you about that. Catherine in Seattle, socialism appeals to women and now coincides with women voting. Well, but the question is why, and we've given those reasons. And let's see here. In Castle Rock, Colorado, women have instincts to nurture. Yes, that is what, and they transfer it to politics. Bill has a great call in Houston on the biblical perspective. Jamie in Stockton, single women are more liberal because they tend to take the role of being a caretaker. Well said, my friends. Well said. Now think about what's better for society, masculine or feminine thinking. We return on the Dennis Prager Show.
Tomorrow on Timeless Wisdom with Dennis Prager.
You know, when I think about my stuff, I think in terms of Ecclesiastes. There's nothing new under the sun. I'm just a guy who's articulating timeless principles, one of which is that denial, self-denial, is good for the soul. And a child learns to deny himself by being denied. And the very unfortunate thing is that today's parents don't deny, vitamin N being no, the most character-building two-letter word in the English language. And today's kids are not being denied. The temper tantrums that young people are throwing all over America because what they wanted to happen didn't happen.
Join us tomorrow to hear more on Timeless Wisdom with Dennis Prager. Visit DennisPrager.com for thousands of hours of Dennis's lectures, courses, and classic radio programs, and to purchase Dennis Prager's Rational Bibles. We want to take just a second to thank the team at Life Audio for their partnership with us on the podcast. Go to lifeaudio.com to find dozens of other faith-centered podcasts in their network, including shows about prayer, Bible study, parenting, and more.
Precious metals dealers come and go. This is Nick Grovich, president of AmFed Coin and Bullion. We've stood the test of time since 1983. With the flurry of coin and bullion dealers coming and going, how do you know who to trust and what to buy? At AmFed Coin and Bullion, we value educated consumers. We want to alert you to good bullion buys in the market and help you steer clear of the tricks and bad deals. Call AmFed Coin and Bullion for a free coin performance review. 800-221-7694 or AmericanFederal.com.